999. That's how many steps this SUV can climb. 750 tons of water per minute is what it can rival. If you are one of those who listens more to your head, thinks rationally, then perhaps this SUV and this video is not for you. But for those that dance to the beat of their heart, well, let's continue this chat. The Range Rover Sport is the poster boy of marrying sportiness with luxury and the legendary Land Rover off-roading capabilities. And this is the third generation model which we have with us today. While this vehicle was launched last year and we did put out a walk-around video of this very vehicle in December last year, you can go there, check out what is new on the inside and on the outside. Today, I will be focusing primarily on things that I like about this vehicle and things which I did not like as much. But before we proceed any further, I would urge you to press that subscribe button which is red, just like this Range Rover Sport. The very first thing that I liked, and a lot of people will also appreciate, is the design of the new Range Rover Sport. I mean, look at it. It's gorgeous, it's fantastic. What the company has gone for is a very rounded and kind of minimalistic design approach. You don't have a lot of busy lines running throughout the bodywork, which I really like. Even at the front, you can see it's very rounded and almost feels like, there are not too many disturbances in the surface. Despite it being a massive SUV, the grille does not shout for attention. It's very compact. It's flanked by these sleek LED headlamps, which again look great at night. Then if you move on to the side, you have these huge 22-inch alloy wheels and the option to go for bigger 23-inch ones as well, the biggest that the Sport has ever had. And continuing on to the side, you will notice that the windows themselves are very seamless. They don't have a very ugly and apparent border where the window meets the doors. Even the door handles are flush-fitting ones, and only when you unlock the vehicle do they come out. And finally, when you move to the back, once again you have that rounded kind of design with the tail lamps that feel almost as if they're embedded right inside the bodywork. But down below you have two absolutely wide and massive exhausts which are real, so that is also a great addition in terms of the design at the back. Overall, it might be very apparent that I really like how this vehicle looks, and just the whole roundedness makes you want to kind of hug this vehicle, a bit like this. Just like. Now, the second thing I like about the new Range Rover Sport is its cabin and interior experience. Even though you're not quite paying the Range Rover kind of money, but you're getting an interior which looks and feels very similar to its elder sibling. The fit and finish overall, the choice of materials is all very good and does feel very premium. And even in terms of tech, you have a lot of things. For example, you can see that this 13.1-inch touchscreen is very easy to use. The touch response is pretty nice and it's packed with features. If I open the menu, there are so many options that you could probably spend 1 or 2 days just going through all the different menus and all the different things that it has to offer. It obviously supports wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You have a wireless charging pad, automatic AC. You have a 13.7-inch digital MID, and you also get a head-up display, which is very useful. So all in all, this cabin does provide you with a lot of comfort. The seats are electrically adjustable. You get cooling function for them as well. And there are a lot of storage spaces that have been scattered around. You have a large panoramic sunroof as well. All in all, you feel that you are sitting in an expensive vehicle, and the Range Rover Sport is going to keep you happy if you're sitting in the front seat especially. The next thing that people will really like about the Range Rover Sport is its huge boot. You get 850 liters of storage space, which can further be expanded by dropping down the seats in the second row. Safe to say you can put in a lot of luggage. Basically, if I wanted to, I could lie down here, easily fit. You could fit 2 more people as big as me inside this boot without dropping down the seats. So in terms of storage, you get a lot of space. You can also, using these buttons, maybe increase or decrease the height using the air suspension for easier access to the luggage, whether you're pulling it out or putting something in. The next good thing about the Range Rover Sport is obviously its driving behavior, especially the 3-liter inline-6 engine in this. Now the version that we are driving comes with a petrol engine, but you can also get this SUV with a diesel engine. Both are mated to an 8-speed automatic gearbox. Now this petrol engine does have plenty of power to pull this mammoth SUV. It produces about 390 horsepower and generates 550 Newton meters of torque, which, like I said, is plenty for a vehicle of this size. The moment you press down on the accelerator pedal like this, there is a little bit of lag, but then you can see that the vehicle immediately gets going. So this means that overtaking vehicles is easy for the Range Rover Sport. It does live up to its sporty name in that regard. Even on the highway, gaining triple-digit speeds is no sweat for a vehicle of this capability. Now, if you want to make things a bit more sporty, then you can shift the gearbox into sport mode and the response gets even sharper. You can also use the paddle shifts to change gears yourself. I'm right now cruising at about 50 km/h, and the moment I press the accelerator pedal, the vehicle just lurches ahead and you feel the front go up a little with the amount of force with which it is accelerating. So that is very exciting and impressive. And finally, since this vehicle has that green Land Rover badge, it is amazing when it comes to off-roading capabilities. I doubt a lot of buyers of this vehicle would take it on challenging terrains, but if you find yourself on some B roads which aren't paved, or when you're stuck in some sticky situation, this vehicle is surely going to get you out of it very easily. It has the terrain response mode with 7 different modes. It comes with 900 mm water wading capabilities, which is quite a lot. The ground clearance can be modulated to up to 286 mm, which gives it plenty of clearance under the vehicle to clear bigger rocks or climb over obstacles. On top of that, you have the auto mode, which can on its own judge the terrain that the vehicle is on and modulate the brake and engine response accordingly, which means that even if you're not very adept at off-roading, this vehicle will take care of all the calculative and more difficult bits, while you have to just make sure that the steering wheel is pointing in the right direction. It even gets an adaptive cruise control for low-speed off-road driving, which is quite unique. As I mentioned at the top of this video, the Range Rover Sport has climbed a lot of stairs, it has gone through dams, it has gone through riverbeds. So that just proves that while being luxurious and smart, this also can go off-road. Now let's talk about some of the things that I did not like as much about the Range Rover Sport. And the first thing on my list is the second row experience inside the vehicle. I did say that the interior quality and the features are very nice and impressive, but that's mostly true for the front 2 seats. Over at the back, while you do get a lot of things, you get a decent amount of space, but I feel that if you're spending around 2 crore rupees on a vehicle, you should be getting a little more. You can see that I'm 6 feet tall and I have enough knee room, and the leg room is also pretty decent, but in terms of headroom, well, it's just about enough for me. And even in terms of my legs, well, the slider on the left side of the front seat, it's hitting my left leg. I have to sort of angle my leg towards the right to properly fit my legs under the front seat. So that's a small annoyance. You do get sun blinds, but these are manual ones, so that also does not feel fitting for a vehicle like this. The armrest is pretty nice, but again the quality feels slightly, not as good as what you would expect in a vehicle of this segment. So the second row experience could definitely have been improved a bit more than what it is right now. Now, something that I'm not a big fan of is how, despite being the Range Rover Sport, when you really try and push this vehicle on tarmac, you might find yourself a bit unimpressed. I'll tell you what I mean by that. Basically, if you are taking a long sweeping bend and you try to go fast, well, you don't feel as connected to the road and you don't feel that same amount of feedback that you would want from a steering wheel of a sporty vehicle. Plus, you do feel that there is some vertical movement as you are taking a corner. Another thing that you want to be mindful of is the ride quality. Now, Range Rover vehicles, well, they generally tend to have very good suspension, and this also does a pretty good job of soaking in a lot of the bumps, but maybe perhaps the people at the factory slapped on the sport badge on this. That's why they've made the suspension on this one a bit too firm. Some of the sharper undulations on the road do filter into the cabin and you get that feeling of going over a bad road. It does not cushion out as many bumps as you would want from a vehicle that is so luxurious and that looks and feels and is so expensive. I was honestly expecting a lot more from this vehicle, especially considering that this has air suspension. So yeah, maybe a little more tuning towards the comfort side would have benefited this vehicle. So there are all the things that I liked about the new Range Rover Sport and the things that I did not quite like as much. Finally, I would like to say that once again, we'll come back to the point that I spoke about at the start. If you're thinking with your head, if you're judging things rationally, if you're just looking for a vehicle to go from point A to point B, then yes, you could look at some other vehicles which are less expensive, which do provide more features. You must have seen our review of the Range Rover and really loved what that vehicle provides, but maybe the price is a bit too far out of reach. Well, compared to that, this feels like a bargain considering the interior quality, all the off-roading features and the impressive looks that it provides. If you look at it from that lens, then this definitely looks like a very good proposition. So, if you are someone who enjoys the journey more than the destination, who knows what the Land Rover badge is worth and who really loves driving their vehicle, then the Range Rover Sport is definitely going to interest you.